closed it out, iced it, and cemented their place in history as having the best season numbers-wise of all time after breaking the regular season record with getting 73 wins this year. The Bulls of 95-96 had the previous record of 72. And there was just something throughout the entire playoffs, especially that OKC series, where I couldn't help but feel like I was rewatching the 16-0 New England Patriots, who broke their league's regular season win record, but then could not go on to win the championship. I kept getting those vibes at different points in time. But then obviously, up 3-1, winning on the road, heading back home, just got to win 1 out of 3. You're not really feeling those vibes anymore. But then it's announced that Draymond Green, the real MVP of the Golden State Warriors, because he impacts the game in the most ways, as well as at an extremely high level in every way. He was suspended for a punch to LeBron's ball sack, as well as some unapproved language that he used to LeBron as well. And of course, he had prior offenses of striking people repeatedly in the nuts from other points in the playoffs as well as the regular season. And so he had to sit out Game 5. As Game 5 was playing out, I believe it was third quarter, starting center for the Warriors, Andrew Bogut, messed up his knee and was helped off the floor, and was announced that he would no longer be available to play for the rest of the series. And I said last week, don't underestimate the impact of that Andrew Bogut injury. And while that was not the entire reason, I'm not saying if they'd have had Andrew Bogut, the Warriors would have still won, but it definitely helped open the door wider and made it more possible for the Cavaliers to pull off this historical, never been done for down 3-1 comeback, which they did. But I think the surprising part, for me at least, as a realist, I'm not a cynic, I'm just a realist. I see both sides of the coin always. But even knowing the momentum and stuff, seeing a full power, with the exception of Andrew Bogut, a full power Warriors at home, where they had only lost less than 5 games all year, regular season and postseason combined. And they had never lost 3 games in a row at any point this entire season, and then you just don't think of LeBron or anyone on that Cavaliers team as being a Game 7 dominate closing type of thing. You're looking at the coach matchup. You've got Tyronn Lue, who was promoted to head coach halfway through the year. This is his first crack at it, going up against Steve Kerr, who's been coaching for years now, proven that he can do it well, won this year's Coach of the Year, even though that was a travesty, and we all know he shouldn't have. But somehow, your unanimous MVP, Steph Curry, doesn't show up. 5 of the 7 games was unacceptable from Steph Curry. LeBron James, on the other hand, he led every single player on every team in all 5 major statistics. He had the most points of any player on either team in the series. Same with rebounds, same with assists, same with steals, and same with blocks. Are you freaking kidding me? That's insane. Games 5 and 6, he goes off for 40 points in each game. Game 7, he's got over 30 with a triple-double. I mean, this guy is just stepping up big and doing everything the entire time. The real MVP, as I've said long time now, LeBron James. And then on the other side, you've got the chosen, the named, the given, unanimous MVP, Steph Curry. And, Can the people at the National Basketball Association, can they mail me a form so that I can vote from now on for the MVP so that we don't have, jokes like this going down anymore, I would have at least been that one frickin' writer that did not vote for Steph Curry for the MVP. I told you I wouldn't have put him higher than third. I wouldn't have put him over LeBron, and I wouldn't have put him over Westbrook. Both of those guys were way more valuable to their teams this year, and I don't even know that he's the MVP on his team when you look at the plus minuses of him and of Klay Thompson, and primarily of Draymond Green. Draymond Green is the guy that makes that team go. But shame on you, NBA fans. Shame on you, and sports media. Shame on you, sports writers. You took style over substance. You unanimously took style over substance. And LeBron James proved me and him completely 100% right and smacked y'all upside the heads with his performances and the outcome of this NBA Finals. Had the Warriors ended up winning it for the second straight year, Steph Curry wouldn't have even been a top 2 candidate on his own team for the MVP award in the finals. How can that be your unanimous league MVP? Is he the best offensive player? Sure. If it was the most outstanding player of the year award, absolutely. But it's the most valuable. And look at the wins, regular season and postseason, that the Warriors had when he wasn't in the lineup and everyone else was, as compared to when he was in the lineup and they were missing just Draymond or just Klay. He's not that valuable to that team. He is valuable to that team, but he's not the most valuable player. Kyrie Irving on the other side for the Cavaliers just schooled Steph Curry, proved that Steph Curry can be a liability on defense when stuck in a bad matchup that's not in his favor, as well as we saw Steph Curry in the fourth quarter of Game 7 become an offensive liability as well, just completely going rogue, abandoning the playbook, jacking up bad shots when he wasn't even, shooting good enough to justify attempting them in the first place in that game. He got ejected in Game 6 after whipping his freaking mouth guard at a fan for being upset at a call. We saw all these flaws in Steph Curry's game and as a person that nobody was willing to give any weight to before. Well, I was, I've been very neutral on Steph for a long time. But everybody got so caught up in how fun it was to watch him play when he's playing at his best that they completely disregarded all these other weaknesses that he has or, can fall victim to at times and in certain matchups. And that's exactly what happened here. Kudos to Tyronn Lue and LeBron James for out-coaching Steve Kerr. Shame on Steve Kerr for not seeking out the advice of his boy, Luke Walton, the one who really, makes all the brilliant decisions and has all the smart ideas and has the pulse of that locker room. And I'm telling you, Luke Walton was the coaching engine that drove that. And with him being out and waiting to go to LA, Kerr winning the award for regular season coach of the year, even though he coached less than half of the team's regular season games. Kerr was, you saw as the playoffs got deeper into the playoffs that there was less visible Luke Walton, and all of the coaching was being done strictly by Kerr, and for whatever reason, he just couldn't come up with anything in the final 3 games, especially Game 7, which was the only close game. Tied at 89 with just under a minute to go. Kyrie Irving hits a go-ahead 3 to go up by 3 right in the face of Steph Curry. Was the shot, just amazing. A minute before that, there was a fast break where LeBron James had a block that was one of the best defensive plays I've ever seen in any game. Oh man, YouTube that if you haven't seen it. And then in the final minutes, LeBron injured his wrist on the way, falling to the floor after a foul. He went to the free throw line, missed the first one, made the second one, and they won by 4 points. I want to say, I'm pretty dang sure it was the only game in the entire series that was decided by single digits. So I think a lot of people got caught up in the margins of victory that they were watching, go throughout this, and not paying attention to the smaller details. And it really is, I felt after Game 6 that while I didn't expect the Cavaliers to do it, I acknowledged that there was a really good chance that they could do it because they've got the best player in LeBron James, and because it's a series, and as the series plays on, there's adjustments made and things like that, and it just seemed like in this series, the Cavaliers had gotten to a point where they had figured out the Warriors, and it seemed like the Warriors, going into Game 7 and throughout Game 7, were still trying to figure out not only the Cavaliers, but also trying to figure out themselves as a team. And that, just as much as LeBron and Kyrie playing out of their minds, because both Kyrie Irving and LeBron James had incredible series. Kyrie elevated himself to Dwayne Wade status. He will be an all-star. He is in his prime. Shoe contracts. He is legit. He's the real deal. Now Kevin Love, on the other hand, hopefully has lost his job as that team's overpaid Chris Bosh. The less he played in the series as the series went on, the better the Cavs played. In fact, you could really say the series turned around when Kevin Love went out and missed, I believe it was Game 3, with the concussion that he had. Maybe it was Game 5, I'm not sure. But anyway, he missed some time with a concussion. And that was really when you felt like the Cavaliers came out and played with a really firm understanding of identity, of who they were, what their strengths and weaknesses were, what they could count on from everybody at their different roles, and just, this is the game plan, this is what we're going to do. Whereas with Kevin Love, it always looks and feels more unnatural and more forced with everything that he's a part of, both offensively and defensively on that team. And having a young Tristan Thompson on the team, who's got almost the same big contract that Kevin Love does, playing the same position, contributing just as much, if not more, than Kevin Love is, you got to wonder if at some time here in this offseason, the Cleveland Cavaliers will be able to trade, or will even attempt to trade away Kevin Love. I think they will try to, and I think they will be able to find a team somewhere, some crummy team like the Orlando Magic, or something like that, that will be dumb enough to take him, and I think that's what's going to happen, because he's not. Him not playing at all, they have a better chance of winning the games against the Warriors. They proved that. So you can't justify paying him the kind of money he's got on his contract when he doesn't give them a better chance to win. He proved that. So look for them. I would very much expect for them to look to move him. As far as the Warriors go, the big talk there is that they are going to try and sign free agent Kevin Durant, to which my response is, yeah, right. Keep dreaming. There is no way that team is going to be Curry at point guard, Klay Thompson at shooting guard, Kevin Durant at small forward, Draymond Green at power forward, and some other guy at center. It's just not going to happen. They've already got a great thing going in Golden State. To bring in Kevin Durant would completely have to reset everything as far as chemistry and strategy, and I don't see how the numbers can make it work out. Oklahoma City can offer him more money based off of everything we know about Kevin Durant's history, personal history, as well as personality and who he is. just as a dude, there is a 1% chance that he leaves Oklahoma City. The only way that he doesn't leave Oklahoma City is if there is some kind of disagreement, a deal breaker with him and management on the direction of the